The Group of Seven, or G7, stands as a pivotal assembly where leaders from the world's most advanced economies, the nations that hold significant sway over global affairs, Canada, a nation known for its commitment to multilateralism and its vast natural resources, France, a key player in European politics with a rich history of diplomatic engagement, Germany, the economic powerhouse of Europe, committed to stability and sustainable growth, Italy, a nation grappling with economic challenges while maintaining a strong cultural influence, Japan, a technological innovator facing demographic shifts and seeking to redefine its global role, the UK, navigating its post-Brexit identity and striving to maintain its global influence, and the US, the world's largest economy, wielding significant power in international affairs, convene annually to tackle global challenges, seeking common ground on issues that affect the entire planet. These discussions aim to foster cooperation and find solutions to pressing problems. These summits are critical for shaping policy on a wide array of issues, setting the stage for international cooperation and coordinated action. Economic stability, ensuring the global financial system remains robust and resilient in the face of emerging threats, climate change, addressing the urgent need to reduce emissions and transition to a sustainable future for all, and security, working together to address conflicts, terrorism, and other threats to global peace. The final communiqué, a joint statement, represents the consensus reached by the leaders on these critical issues, signals the group's priorities after intense negotiation, outlining the commitments and actions they will undertake in the coming year. But the G7's unity has fractured in recent years, strained by diverging national interests and differing approaches to global challenges, with disagreements over key policy areas, leading to tense discussions and compromises that often fall short of expectations. Trade, with protectionist measures and trade wars creating friction among member states, climate, as differing commitments to emissions reductions and renewable energy targets create divisions and alliances, with shifting geopolitical landscapes and differing security priorities testing the strength of traditional partnerships. Now, out in the open, undermining the image of a united front and raising questions about the group's effectiveness. The 2025 summit arrived amid a backdrop of heightened uncertainty and complex global dynamics, global economic fragility, with concerns about inflation, debt, and the potential for recession looming large regional conflicts, threatening to destabilize entire regions and exacerbate humanitarian crises and technological disruption, raising ethical and societal questions that demand careful consideration. Leaders hoped to find common ground, to bridge their differences and forge a path towards greater cooperation, or at least manage their differences, preventing further fragmentation and preserving the G7's role as a forum for dialogue. Yet, the summit's most defining moment wasn't a heated debate over trade imbalances or a landmark agreement on climate targets. Instead, it was a profound and unsettling silence, a void left by an unexpected absence that spoke volumes about the state of global affairs. That left the world questioning what comes next, casting a shadow of doubt over the future of international cooperation and the ability of world leaders to address the challenges ahead. The final day of the summit unfolded with an unexpected quiet, a stark contrast to the preceding days filled with bustling activity and fervent discussions. The air seemed to hang heavy with unspoken words, a palpable sense of anticipation mixed with uncertainty. Instead of the usual press conferences brimming with eager journalists and flashing cameras and the expected political theater carefully orchestrated for maximum impact, there was a void, an emptiness that resonated through the halls, leaving attendees and observers alike searching for answers in the silence. The usual vibrant energy of the summit had dissipated, replaced by an unsettling stillness. Donald Trump, known for dominating headlines with his often provocative statements and unpredictable behavior, a figure who rarely shied away from the spotlight, simply vanished after a closed-door session. No fanfare, no concluding remarks, just an abrupt and unexplained departure that left everyone in his wake bewildered. No press conference to dissect his views, no tweets to ignite further controversy, no explanation, just a silent exit, shrouded in mystery and raising countless questions about the motivations behind it. The American delegation clammed up, offering no insights or justifications for their leader's sudden departure, maintaining a unified front of silence that only deepened the intrigue, leaving journalists and allies in confusion, scrambling to piece together the puzzle and understand the implications of this unexpected turn of events. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from strategic maneuvering to outright protest. The absence was more shocking than any outburst, more impactful than any fiery speech, a deliberate act of withdrawal that spoke volumes in its silence, sending a message of ambiguity and abandonment, leaving the international community to grapple with the uncertainty and potential consequences of this unprecedented move. Unlike his loud 2018 walkout, which was punctuated by strong words and visible frustration, this was a ghost-like withdrawal, a subtle yet powerful statement that resonated far beyond the walls of the summit venue. The remaining leaders were left to interpret the silence, to decipher the hidden meaning behind the empty chair and the unspoken words. Unsure of its intent, unsure of the future direction of international relations in the wake of this unexpected disruption, the summit's schedule unraveled, key discussions were postponed, and the carefully planned agenda was thrown into disarray, leaving a sense of unfinished business and lingering questions. And the world was left to wonder what this meant for the future of global cooperation, for the delicate balance of power, and for the prospects of addressing pressing global challenges in a united and collaborative manner. The silence was the message, a powerful and unsettling communication that transcended words and resonated with a profound sense of uncertainty. And it was deafening, a stark reminder of the fragility of international alliances and the unpredictable nature of global politics. Inside the opulent conference room, a space usually buzzing with strategic discussions and collaborative spirit, disbelief quickly turned to a palpable unease. A wave of anxiety washed over the assembled world leaders and their delegations. The initial shock of the news began to give way to a deeper, more unsettling feeling. As news of Trump's abrupt exit rapidly spread like wildfire through the room, whispers turned into urgent conversations, hushed tones filled with speculation and concern. Senior advisors huddled together, their faces etched with worry as they tried to assess the implications of this unprecedented departure. The American president's empty chair, a stark and unsettling void in the carefully arranged seating plan, shattered the delicate diplomatic atmosphere that had been painstakingly cultivated over days of negotiations. The room, once a symbol of international cooperation, now felt charged with uncertainty and apprehension. Such a sudden and unceremonious breach of protocol, a blatant disregard for established norms, was seen as a profound sign of disrespect, not only to the assembled leaders, but also to the very principles of international diplomacy and collaboration. It was a slap in the face to the established order, to the G7 and its members, undermining the spirit of unity and cooperation that the summit was intended to foster. The flags of the member nations seemed to hang a little lower, their vibrant colors dulled by the somber mood. The remaining leaders scrambled to salvage the summit, their initial agendas thrown into disarray as they grappled with the unexpected crisis. Emergency meetings were called, and frantic discussions ensued behind closed doors, shifting focus from ambitious long-term goals and groundbreaking agreements to simply proving that the alliance could still function, that it could withstand this unprecedented challenge and maintain a semblance of unity in the face of adversity. Public statements were carefully worded, each phrase meticulously crafted to project an image of stability and resolve, but beneath the veneer of diplomatic composure, frustration and disappointment were palpable. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Trudeau and Macron, two of the most vocal proponents of multilateralism, spoke of shared values, the importance of international cooperation, and the enduring strength of the alliance, pointedly contrasting their commitment to global partnerships with Trump's isolationist actions and unilateral decision-making. The group photo, conspicuously missing the U.S. president and his delegation, became a stark and unforgettable symbol of a fractured alliance, a visual representation of the growing divide between the United States and its traditional allies. The summit would ultimately be remembered not for its intended achievements, its policy breakthroughs, or its collaborative initiatives, but for who was conspicuously missing, for the absence that loomed large over every discussion and every decision. The haunting image of the empty chair, a silent testament to a broken alliance, said it all, encapsulating the uncertainty and fragility of the international order in a single powerful frame. Trump's exit came at a time of global instability, economic uncertainty, war in Ukraine, and rising tensions in the Middle East and Indo-Pacific. The G7 was meant to project unity and steady leadership, but the sudden American withdrawal sent shockwaves through markets and capitals. The climate crisis and rapid AI development demanded global cooperation, Yet the summit's disarray undermined these efforts. The silence from the US poured fuel on the fires of uncertainty. Allies worried about American reliability, adversaries saw opportunity in the cracks. The world was left holding its breath, unsure who would lead. The power vacuum was real and dangerous. With no official explanation, speculation ran wild. Some pointed to policy deadlock. Trump isolated on trade and climate, unwilling to compromise. Others saw personal pique, a reaction to perceived lecturing from fellow leaders. For his base, the walkout could be spun as a show of strength against globalist elites. The silence let Trump control the narrative, denying others the chance to frame him as the obstacle. Some suggested it was pure impulse, a decision made in frustration. The real reason may be a mixed policy, personality, politics, and instinct. The world was left guessing. Trump's silent exit was more than a tantrum, it was a calculated disruption. By vanishing without comment, he seized the news cycle, making himself the story. The ambiguity gave him leverage, letting him define the narrative later, on his own terms. It devalued the G7, signaling that the US no longer saw it as essential. Domestically, it played to a sense of American exceptionalism. For allies, it was destabilizing. For adversaries, it was an opening. The unpredictability kept everyone off balance. The silent exit maximized attention, minimized accountability. It was disruption as strategy. Trust is the foundation of alliances like the G7 and NATO. Trump's walkout shattered that trust, signaling US commitments could no longer be taken for granted. European leaders saw it as proof they must rely less on America, accelerating moves toward strategic autonomy. In Asia, allies like Japan and South Korea questioned US reliability. Adversaries saw a chance to test the West's resolve. The G7's unity, its greatest strength, was now in doubt. The group's ability to counter authoritarian powers was weakened. The world's democracies looked less united than ever. Trump's exit forced the G7 to confront its future. Can the group function if its most powerful member rejects basic norms? Some leaders considered moving forward as a G6, but without the US, their influence would shrink. Others floated expanding the group to include new democracies, but consensus would be harder. The G7's fate may hinge on America's political direction. For now, the summit's abrupt end exposed the fragility of Western unity. The illusion of unbreakable alliance was gone. The G7 may never be the same. Trump's silent departure was more than political drama. It was a symbol of global uncertainty. The empty chair became a metaphor for American withdrawal and a fractured world order. The summit, meant to project unity, instead broadcast disarray. The reasons, strategy, pique, politics, mattered less than the consequences. Trust was broken, and the future of alliances thrown into doubt. The silence from that day still echoes, marking the end of one era and the uncertain start of another. The world must now navigate the fallout.